I'm glad you brought up Ricky Pearsall's name. I got something I want to say about Ricky Pearsall that I've noticed.
Better be positive.
Observation.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is positive.
Because you're normally quite negative.
Well, I've not.
Of late this week,
Yeah.
dude, negative Nelly.
The
Giants are no good. Nobody cares. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I'm done.
It's a good Willard.
Thank you.
It's a good Willard
I'll take
impression.
a 2. It's a 2 out of 5.
That's really
Number
good.
2.
My goodness. It worked.
It did.
1-0 in the post-Grumpy Willard era.
Exactly.
Okay?
We're going to do 17 minutes. That's unusual.
Why does that number keep growing?
I don't know.
What actually was it? Somebody timed that. They put something on social yesterday. It was 5.5.
It was the abridged version.
No, it wasn't.
I sent 4 emails and took 2 naps, but go ahead. It's funny because our producer who's right next to you, Lucas Alexander, you're about 90 seconds in, and he gets in my ear and he goes, "Hey, Dibs, this is Lucas. Why don't you lay out? Why don't you let Mark cook?" And I looked back, and I can't see him, and it took everything I could to not swear at him, and I put the talkback button down. I said, "Lay out? As opposed to what? Every other day on this program?" And I'm yelling, and meanwhile, you're doing what you're doing, and Lucas is like, "Yeah, good point. Anyway, lay out. Let Mark cook."
So weird. I didn't notice any of this. Anyway,
you cooked. It was like a 4-course meal.
I wanted to talk about Ricky Pearsall for a second because I noticed something in the way that the world's reacted to him. Here's what I've noticed. Draft Nicks, and you know how I love those people.
Yeah.
Please send me your draft grades.
I gave him a C+, Mark.
I really want to know that you think the Bills had a C- because somebody named Spencer is not supposed to go for another 4 picks on your stupid mock draft. Anyway, Draft Nicks and that world surprised by the pick for 2 reasons. A, most had Pearsall maybe as a second rounder.
Yeah.
Although, dude, he was 2 picks away from being a second rounder.
Thank you.
And the other thing is, Draft Nicks looked at the 49ers and went, well, wide receivers now one of your top needs? You needed this, or you needed offensive line, or you need to replace Dre Greenlaw, or whatever. So the surprise of the positional selection, combined with Pearsall being a first rounder when people didn't think so, the draft world looked at this and went, that's a reach. I don't like the pick. That one's a head scratcher. What are y'all doing? So the media sounded one way about Ricky Pearsall. The league sounded completely different. Okay? We've heard the stories to where he impressed throughout the facility. His interviews went really, really well. The way that he kind of talked to people, word out of Florida is that, quote, you're getting a good one. And that's kind of the person, but it's also the player. Don't forget what C.J. Stroud did live when the pick was made. He's salivating over the fact. He's like, I wanted it. I'm thinking, why'd you want him? You've got 3 stud receivers on your team already. But football people who don't care about pick 32, 34, 30, whatever.
Right.
They looked at him and went, that is a dude. And that's why I'm excited about the pick. I'm excited about the pick because the people who are more in the know than people like us really like the guy. Is that everything? Is that worth, is it in stone? Of course not.
Right.
Of course not. And draft nicks are allowed to be right too. But if I had to lean in one direction or the other, which one are you going to lean in? The football people love Ricky Pearsall.
Well, in honesty, you're not going to lean either way because neither one matters for a hill of beans. He either can play or he can't play. And he either is good for the Niners or he's not good for the 49ers. And we won't know that until 2 games, 12 games, 3 seasons, however you want to determine whether or not he's good. The one thing that you said that I totally believe in, and I think I said it in the moment, was, yeah, if you had him as a second-round grade and he gets taken number 31, which is 2 picks away from the second round, what are we even doing here?
Right.
Because if the Niners would have had the 33rd pick or if they would have traded back 2 spots, I would argue that that was a worse pick because you wouldn't have had his 5th-year option by him being a second-round pick.
Good point.
So if you loved him at 31 and you had a chance to move back to 33 and then you took him at 33 anyway, you lose out on a year of player control because you took him in the second round. So the whole thing, and I'm looking at Warren Sharp right now, and he did a full analysis of the most valuable draft classes based on expected draft capital.
Oh, God.
So you look at where every player was supposed to be taken.
What does that mean?
That means the 49ers had the 5th worst draft in football, Mark, is what it means.
Because of expected draft capital.
Exactly. They were a 1.48. So they averaged 1.48 rounds per pick. Worse,
right?
They reached so much,
okay,
Mark.
Here's what's so stupid,
Was Willie Stretch McCovey the GM in the draft room? I want answers. All right, I'm over it. Sorry. I didn't mean to ruin your set, Tim. I got angry.
It's a studio. It's not a set.
My fault.
All right, here's why.
Couldn't remember what we were calling it.
Expected draft capital.
Now my hand hurts.
Is the stupidest thing ever, and here's why.
29th best class, but go ahead.
Let's say Ricky Pearsall, expected draft capital, ranked him 35th. Let's say that.
I had him with a second-round grade.
Okay, but let's say that, right, there's a number of picks to him. Where if it's even 37.
Okay.
37. What pick did the Niners end up getting him at?
31.
31. All right. The Niners don't have the 37th pick. They have the 31st pick.
Yeah.
So if you think the guy is the 37th pick, and you pick him at 31, and some Yahoo on the internet goes, that's 6 picks too early, I'm always like, dummy, they can't pick him at 37.
Right.
Why would that matter to you? The fact that he's, quote unquote, not supposed to go for another 6, 7, 8 picks. We're picking now, and we like him. So let's get him, as opposed to then being criticized for picking him too early. That whole process only makes sense if you have every pick. And then you can get him right when you're supposed to get him.
Right.
No, you get him when you can get him. And you act like trading back is just this omnipresent option. It's not. You need to have somebody else who wants to move up.
Yeah, true.
They might move up to get the guy that you want. Like the whole thing, that's why that process gets way too mathematical for me.
He was the 3rd most overdrafted player in the first round. And that's something that you need to deal with. It was Michael Penix, Bo Nix, and Ricky Pearsall. And I hate to say this, and I should say it now before he joins us later in the show, but Bernardo Green, 4th most overdrafted player in the second round.
Wait, so the Niners got like all the most overdrafted guys?
In the first 2 rounds, they had 2 of the most overdrafted guys. You know what they are, Mark? They're my college checking account. Overdrafted.
Yeah,
and with that, I'm out.
We got the joke.
See what happened I would actually what I would do is back in the day you could deposit an empty envelope in the ATM and get cash back. What's wrong with you people?
No, I knew that. I never did it, but I knew that.
I didn't do it either.
Yeah. Please, you got to.
We can't break now. I'm on a roll.
No, that's actually why we're breaking.